Just the gap. No, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. That's good.
Hello, Nandaji, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, you can go ahead and start.
All right. Could you just give me a cue and I'll begin?
Please go ahead now.
All right. Aditya ji, Sadar Namaskar, and Namaskar everyone. I'm deeply honored and privileged to be a part of this very special program today. Today's world, as we look at it, has is full of challenges. You can look at the war between Ukraine and Russia. You can look at so many countries in Africa at the present time, practically on the verge of famine, and so many civil wars, conflicts going on. In this country, we can see day after day gun violence, and there is absolutely no tolerance for people at all. Those who are different, they are not the ones who are wanted. They are not the ones who are considered to be part of the community. Under these circumstances, what is the choice? And what do we need to do? And I think at the present time, it's totally acceptable and understood that we need at least a culture of peace. We need a culture in which not simply do people tolerate each other, but they accept differences. They respect differences. And Hindus are the ones who, from the very beginning, have said that tolerance is not what we seek, that tolerance is where you think of the other person as inferior to you and you consider yourself superior. And then you say that I tolerate you. And that is not what Hindus have said. They have said, Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya. They have said that the entire human race is one family. Vasudeva Kutumbakam. And in that setting, then, you find that there are Hindu values and Hindu thoughts that have brought about in the world an era of harmony and peace, and that spiritualism that is needed at the present time is the only way that you can find harmony and peace around the world. I teach international law, and students who are around with me, both graduate students doing MA and PhD, and law students doing their doctorate and masters. And as I talk with them, and as I look at their careers and their future, and they feel very strongly that at this stage in this country and in the Western world especially, we need something more than this total materialistic outlook of life that has not given us peace, that has not given us harmony. And then there are those people who at the present time have looked at, even in this country, from Bharat, those who came, and I won't name names, but Hare Krishna movement, TM, Shri Shri, these are the people who have opened the eyes of people in this country to another way of looking at the world and the prism that they have. Instead of that, looking at a prism that is giving consciousness an opportunity to thrive. And today, Hinduism is one and probably the only way that can lead the world out of this darkness. I have numerous opportunities at the United Nations, at the United States, senators, Congress people, working with them, and on many issues that at the present time are challenging the world community. But I think the answer to all this is that we do need to go beyond what we have been doing until now, and that is greed, that is corruption, that is at the present time at each other's throat, no possibility of even accepting or tolerating each other. And so I think at this stage, and I know what Adityaji has been doing, I know Sattology and the imprint that he has left and is leaving, that is an incredible imprint. I am so delighted to be part of it and to be with you and to say today that in this country, as we look about tomorrow and as we look at the world with all these problems and challenges, war, intolerance, famine, no well being, and now that we're coming out of this COVID, I think the challenges and opportunities for us. The Hindu University of America in this country is at the present time making an effort in order to see that we have an institution of higher learning that's rooted in Hindu traditions, in spiritualism, and to bring about that kind of culture of peace that we need to create in this country. I want to say again to you that is the charge that we have as Hindus, because we need to at least have people be acquainted with Hindu values and thoughts. We need to have at least an opportunity in order to educate people. And with the yoga, with meditation, with Ayurveda, today all those are becoming day to day in this country and in many Western countries very popular. And the reason for all that is Hinduism, spirituality, the basis for all that. And I want to say to all of you, my Sadar Namaskar and Pranam. And I hope that this program today is a grand success. Aditya ji, Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Nandaji, for addressing the live audience today. And I'm very grateful to you for coming on the show and always encouraging us. One thing I must say, people like you become an inspiration for millions of Hindus in North America. Hindus in North America come from Asia, come from India, come from Pakistan, come from all over the world, not just from India. So when you address us and you speak to us about this contribution, you yourself are an example for the rest of the community to follow. And I would like to ask you one question: that can you say that the Hinduism is the only way to spirituality in North America?
I can say that unequivocally. I can say that with firm conviction, and I can say that based upon not simply my own observations, but on very critical appraisal of all that is happening around in this country and in the West. And Adityaji, I need to mention to you that what you are doing and what you have been doing, writing, speaking, I deeply appreciate because you are the one who has been opening this path and way to spirituality. And Hinduism is the only way. So I deeply appreciate my being with you and wish you a grand success today.
Before we start off, I'd like to introduce you another stalwart who supports our Hindu culture in North America, Mr. Sandeep Kambo.
नमस्कार
Namaskar,
नंदा
Sandeep
जी।
ji.
हाँ जी, इट्स अ ग्रेट, बहुत अच्छा लगा आपसे मिलके, आपसे बात करके। और आदित्य जी तो यहाँ पे बहुत ही अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं। ये तो एक हमारी कम्युनिटी के जेम है यहाँ पे।
I totally concur, and thank you. It's wonderful to see you, and even I wish I was there with you in San Diego. I taught San Diego at the law school, University of San Diego, but I wish that I was there with you in person. But thank you. I'm delighted to be with you.
हाँ जी, whenever you come to San Diego, please do visit us, and we look forward to.
Thank you very much.
So, I also want to welcome another community member from Los Angeles who has come to help us and support us in this event in San Diego. Prakash, he has already come on Sattology channel. Prakash,
Namaskar.
welcome, and his good, beautiful wife is also there. Please, would you like to speak something?
Sure, sure.
Wonderful.
Glad to be here. We're look forward to the program. There are some. I think I'm a little off. I come forward.
Wonderful to be
Okay,
with
so
you.
again,
Thank you.
glad to be part of the program. Look forward to the exciting evening. My wife is here. Hema also just say hi.
Hello.
And
Namaskar.
as always, Aditya has put a great program. So look forward to it again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I also, before we start off the main evening, it is on. It is on there. So we have also Devin Patel, the CEO of Geostar, joining from San Diego. He's a leader of our community, and I must tell you, like a brother, and supports every single dharmic cause from San Diego across the world.
Namaskar.
Devin,
Namaskar.
Thank you, everyone. Pleasure meeting you all, everyone. Namaskar, Dr. Ved Prakash ji. Namaskar, and thank you for having me here in this event. So I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Namaskar.
okay. Thank you very much, Nandaji, and
Thank
I'll
you,
take your
Aditya.
leave. And thank you for joining.
Thank you. I
Namaskar.
wish I was there with you, and my very, very best wishes for a most successful gala today.
Next
Namaskar.
year. Next year.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Namaskar. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
So,
Aditya.
yes, you can share about our Japa conference now, so everyone can know about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. This is Shamarasika from Washington, D.C. And we have a everyday chant Harinam Japa group, which we are running since 2010 and like 12 years almost. And every day we get up and gather together on our phone at 5:40 to 7:20 we do japa, and then we have a Bhagavatam class for 45 minutes, and then the question answer session. So it's a very, very, very helpful for us and my spiritual life. As Nanda ji was telling that spirituality and Hinduism at the parallel, like they are together. So that's what the spiritual. If we want to progress in our spiritual, we can rise up early in the Brahma Muhurta time and do the. If you do the japa, then all our day is successful. So for this, we have around 250 members on our japa group, and we have WhatsApp group also. So every day we send the recordings for the classes, whatever classes will every day for Bhagavatam, and then you can join You can join for Japa every day at 5:40 p.m. I know San Diego is 3 hours back, but this is East Coast time. I'm telling. So whoever are willing to join, please join, because in US there is so much stress and so much anxiety. And if we do morning Japa, all um, our stress will go away, and we will be very happy, we will be very successful. So this is a lifeline of my life, and many of our whoever join regularly, there is a lifeline. This Japa conference call is a lifetime of ours. So I request all of you, please join every day and see the experience, have the experience, because I'm telling you, but until you can join and have your experience, you will not get that taste. So whenever you join, you will get that taste. Like if someone tells gulab jamun is sweet, but until we taste ourselves, how is gulab jamun, we didn't know how is the gulab jamun taste, sweet or is savory or it's bitter. So that's how it is. So we all are getting very much benefited, and I thankful from my bottom of heart to Aditya ji that he started this Japa conference call and engaged so many people on his call. And we have very senior speakers and sometimes the swamis of ISKCON and very great devotees, Gaurang Prabhu, Bhakti Rasamrit Swami. So those great personalities, they give Srimad Bhagavatam class, and which is very useful in our day-to-day life. So I request all of you, so please join every day, and good luck, and Aditya ji for your gala event of Sattology. So all of our wishes are always with you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So so this is my bead bag, and these are my beads. So I would like to give you uh, some demo. Like we can hold these beads like this, and then we can chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. You can close your eyes and focus on your sound, because this is a mantra meditation. So usually, before in India, we were saying any mantra in mind, but Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, expressed that we should chant and hear. So we can say little louder so that we can hear and focus on our sound vibration. So like this, I would like to give some demo. So close your eyes and hold the beads like this with these two fingers, and this finger will be like this. So you can chant like this. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So like this, you can finish 108 beads of this round, and it will take only 7 to 8 minutes. So you can start with one round, and then if you feel better, you feel nice, then you can increase your japa rounds more and more, and until 2 hours you can do in the morning, and you feel your life will be like you will feel a lot of difference in your life. Like all your desires will fulfill, and you will feel calm and quiet, and whatever, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Harinama Chintamani Rasa Vigraha. So जैसे चिंतामणि स्टोन को हम टच करते हैं तो अपनी सारी डिजायर पूरी होती है, तो वैसे ही कलयुग के लिए हरिनाम ही एक चिंतामणि स्टोन है. तो please do Hare Krishna Mahamantra every day. And if you have any question, any comment, let us know. Aditya ji is there. We are always here. So I'm organizing the speakers since last 14 years. So please join and give your association every day. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Do you have any question, Aditya ji?
No, thank you so much for coming on the show and introducing our Japa conference. Thank you. Namaste. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Please repeat the question.
So, Vibhuti Jha is a host of Jaipur Dialogues USA. Big hand for him.
I said question.
So the more you ask me question, I'm going to say more words about it. The second is the wisest person on the New York circuit. Because you know what they are about. Third is he's an assembly member candidate for New York 16 Assembly State District. So give big hand for him. So given the today's standard of what's going on in the United States, what do you see in this in America today, and what do you think can be done in this?
Yeah. Thank you very much for being here. It's truly an awesome moment for me because as a TV host of the show, I'm like, consider the way I'm hosting this show and we're releasing it on Sunday. What do you say? This question is very important because I came to this country, like all of you have come here, way back in April 1991. So you can go back in time and say, what were you doing in April 1991? So my job at that time was, as the head for American Express Bank, was to market India here as a business opportunity and the people destination in the Middle East. In the process, I was interacting with C-suite people in the American corporate world, and as you know, you have asking questions. And in the process, I realized that I was answering questions which have ranged from sublime to stupid. Sublime, I say, because there are no stupid questions, but stupid because they deliberately try to fox you with the question. That's the thing I say. But my personal experience with my journey is this, that when I came to this country, it was only after coming here that I became a better human, and a better Indian. Because I realized that America value systems were all really strong. pursuit of happiness. What's that used to be all about? What we have to do, and I will keep this very short, is we have to know how to integrate in the system of the process, which Mr. Vileshi was talking about. How we have to relate with the whole scenario here is very critical for us. And then again, I will share the experiential part of it here, is that in India, we were never taught our value systems in our schools and colleges. So the majority of the first generation Indians who came here, they were India-born confused atheists. Because we all wanted to be like America. We wanted to learn English. We forgot our own values and processes, which were critical in reality in daily life. The second part is also very important. We produced America-born confused atheists because we all wanted our children to be like Mike. The sooner you integrate in the American system, or forget the Indian part, you integrate to be more American. So we're very happy that my children speak English and they're as American as anybody else. As a result of which, what has happened with today's generation, they have ended up being using the as the fourth category, third category of living. We have to contest that. Contest it within ourselves. We don't have to fight anyone. We have to deal with that within ourselves. Today, I'm very politically inclined and involved. We talked to a think tank in Manhattan where they used to do strategic trend evaluation programs. All of these matter. 3 years ago, I talked in my TV program that are Hindus facing an existential threat? We have 3 panelists. 2 of them agreed that yes, we are facing an existential threat if we do not wake up and integrate in the societies we live. So I want to urge you to take a little bit of a jump here. Swami Vivekananda's call to all Indians. Arise, awaken, and assert. This is very vital. And to that, I have added my 4th A, that is Vibhuti Jha's 4th A, act. Sattology is doing a great job of bringing about, breaking the mythological trend that has impacted India. Everything is a myth. No, it is truth. Which I applaud Aditya for bringing about Sattology as a concept, as a new word, is that this is not myth, it's truth. And unless until you know the truth, you can't argue, you can't talk. So we have to kind of awaken, and we have to kind of act, knowing what we know. If you need to know more, go learn. But there comes a moment in time that you have to act, knowing what you know. That's the point which I want to drive at. I see that in this time, in this 21st century, technology, science is the biggest ally of Sanatan Dharma and Sanatan principles. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam we often quote without knowing the true meaning of it. I think Narendra Modi ji gave a very apt definition of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It's not a family. It is about the world being a unit. And when he was inaugurating the International Solar Alliance, he gave the terminology, one earth, one sun, one grid. Think about it from that point of view. That's the concept of Sanatan, of the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that we live on the same planet, consuming planetary resources, using everything that Mother Earth has given us. And if we don't protect and defend that, rest of it is all carries no meaning. So friends, ladies and gentlemen, and young children, I want you to remember one thing. Maintain your identity, learn your identity. There is so much that science and technology has given us voice. And we have to make use of that. So our future is good only if we act on it. Sleeping on it, sitting by the sideline, crying, moaning, and clapping or bemoaning is not going to be the solution to the problem. It is going to be involvement, staying engaged in the communities that you live in, from Parents Teachers Association up the ladder, whatever you think you can reach. Get engaged with the communities that you live in. It's only then that we can all come together. Thank you very much.
So same question goes to Sharad Mohan, and he has published 5 books. And believe me, right after this session, after 9 p.m., There'll be book signing at the last table where Nileshok, where Sharad Mohan and myself and anybody else would like to sign anything else will be available, including the books. So the my next question is to Sharad Mohan. So we have heard different views, so you can answer the same question also. But my one additional question to you is Hinduism, like the ism word attached to Hindus, is it a proper epithet? Or do you think it should be Hindutva or it should be, so please clarify that.
So welcome everyone. Thanks for coming and listening to 4 or 5 of us this evening. Really welcome, and having Friday evening with us is an honor for us. The question is very loaded. Yes, I have written 5 books, and I've been in America for almost 23 years now. But I have just recently started reading scriptures, unlike Nilesh ji and Aditya ji. I'm more of a political analyst and social analyst than a religious scripture. So my answer will be attending to that. So hopefully you will be okay with that. Now, in India, so when I came to US, I think around 1999, just before 9/11 happened, I was in New Jersey, and it was very close to place where this happened. So I come from India, from a place which is known as a like a Texas of US. It's a place where you don't mess with it. It's called Bihar. And when I was coming to America, people told me that you are going to the land of brave. So I said, oh, well, it's from Bihar, which is land of brave. We think we are from land of brave. We are coming to US. So that was one similarity. From Hinduism perspective, again, Hinduism, Nilesh ji will have his own opinion. I have my own. But again, it's very deep. A lot of my American friends, I'm not talking about a religion here, because as I said, I don't have understanding of that depth like Nilesh. But to me, it's a way of life. When I was giving my U.S. citizenship exam, I probably got around all the question right, so around 100 out of 100 or whatever. At that time I mugged up and I remembered what America is and all those value system. But later on, when my kids started going to school here, then I realized that we proudly in America say that all men are born equal. And this is the biggest thing which Hinduism brings to this country, where we are very inclusive in nature. We do not differentiate between your way, my book, my God. We are inclusive of all the ideas. We even within Hinduism we have 6 different sects, but again, eventually we are all we respect our elders. We do things in a righteous way. We don't. Um, there are so many things which I learned during my schooling in India. I went to a school, a Jesuit school, a Catholic school in India. My principal was somebody from Baltimore, Father Hess, a young guy from Baltimore. He got his admission in Stanford, but he sailed to India, and then he never came back from India. So we used to study a subject called moral science, and in moral science in India, they used to teach about a lot of good things. But so my correlation with Hinduism brings the inclusiveness. Hinduism brings the acceptance of all the ideas. Okay, but eventually it's very natural way of living. It's not like artificially created. Again, I'm not disrespecting any other belief, but whether it's a nature, you see the problem which we are having with the environment. Everybody is talking about, oh, code red, it's so hot, or the Russia Ukraine war. We have been taught to give. So whatever we take from the nature, Hinduism teaches us to give back, in fact, more to the nature in a right way. So these are the things which world is facing problem, and Hinduism can bring these type of solution to the world, and that's where Hinduism can bring to the America. And now lastly, Aditya added one question to me, was Hindutva. Now, as I said, Hindutva is something which is a politically created right now. You you we are taught to both be a person of knowledge, which is gyan, and also to use shastra when it needs to defend ourselves. America too believes in that. That's where you have the supporters of gun laws, and even in your first amendment, even in our first amendment, we do have a lot of things to protect ourselves. Hindutva is basically um, I would really correlate. I mean, I may not be totally right in that way, but I think there's a lot of correlation. If you understand things not from a religion perspective, but from a natural law which governs your lifestyle, Hindutva Hinduism is something which is very natural, and it has a lot to give to America, and we are giving it.
So thank you. Give a quick round of applause for Sharad Mohan. Now the same question goes to Devin Patel ji, because Devin Patel ji is not only in the business but also as a Hindu practitioner. He's a practicing Hindu, and he is actually an example for many people connected in the world, who is famously known, addressed by Jai Shri Krishna. So you all know where I'm talking about. So Devin Patel ji, so do you think Hindutva is political and Hinduism is spiritual?
Thank you, Aditya ji. You're asking me questions that I have not thought of. So, Hindutva has become political or has little negative connotation in a Western world to put down those belief system or the country that is coming up. In that form, in a Western media, I think Hindutva has been used as a nationalist idea, or we don't accept others. In that sense, maybe it has that negative connotation. Hinduism is just a term that coined by, I think, British, if I'm not wrong, just like every other thing. And so that is also not needed. I think we have to go back to our roots, the Sanatan Dharma. I think that's where we have to bring our identity back, in my opinion, because this is the question that I never thought about it. So, but these are my very initial thoughts.
All right. Aditya is telling me that it's the same question for me. I would say, think of a scientist, and if you were to explain what does scientists do or how the scientists think, and we might say, oh, a scientist is the one who think in a scientific fashion, right? That's exactly what it is. So Hinduism or Sanatan Vedic Dharma is the foundation, is the philosophy, is the principle, and Hindutva is the person who practices it. No other difference. But what has happened, not only in America, not limited to America, more so in India, okay, maybe to get the highest rating on the TVs or in the newspapers, or sometime taking advantage of situation like COVID, where people are just stuck at houses, at homes and don't know what to do. Whatever may be the reason, or sometime to just confuse people. The media, academia, they will pick some issues like this and just confuse everything out of it. For an American context, this is what I will say. And although I don't spend much time reading newspapers and media and so on, I'll tell you this, a simple rule of thumb that has worked well for me, and I'm very confident it will work very well for you. In the context of Hinduism, in the context of Hindutva, typically if you hear something in an American academia, that's not to discount Indian academia. Indian academia is many times worse, but I'm just talking because we are sitting and discussing in America. American academia, or newspapers like Washington Post, or newspapers like New York Times, or any controversial issue related to Hinduism, Hindutva, whatever it is, on Washington Post or a New York Times or in academia or in Wikipedia. Usually what they say there, think of the opposite of that as usually something very close to the truth, and you have got a good starting point. Thank you.
Now, this is a very, very powerful question. And that is what I realized when I came here in 91. is that if we do not define ourselves, others define you. I think Nileshji put it very well. That Washington Post, New York Times, and the vested media, why they will put us in a particular frame of reference is because we don't define ourselves. And he's absolutely right about that. We have forgotten our own roots, which Mr. Patel talked about. We have to get back to our roots, our own identity. We are missing that out. And there was a very nice picture given when the Hinduism, Hindutva, and Hindu part was being attacked in India. There was a very nice picture given. The Rishi Munis are doing Havan and Puja and Arti. They are engaged in doing the Havan. And the demons are trying to disrupt that puja, all the Havan. And then they show Ram and Lakshman are fighting the demons so that the pujas and the Rishi and the Havan should carry on. The very simple pictorial impact was what Ram and Lakshman were doing was a practice of Hinduism, that is Hindutva, protecting and defending, the good being done, while the other sages were doing what they were supposed to be doing. So the practice and precept is the important part. And this is the beauty of our belief system, because that's where it encourages a conversation. So what I want to say to all of you is, get to know your texts, get to know your stuff, then only you will be able to talk about it. We have to know our texts. Bhagavad Gita, there was a Harvard-educated Tamilian scholar and management consultant. When I was in Bangalore in RBI, he addressed the Bankers Club, and he said that we Indians, and specifically Hindus, do not need to go to Ivy League colleges to study management. What we need to do is to study our own texts, Mahabharata and Gita and Ramayana, because all the life lessons are right out there. As the time goes on, we will talk specifically how the specific shlokas in Gita can solve your individual problem. I read 2 shlokas every day. And it's, believe it or not, it always resolves the crisis of the day. Thank you.
So to summarize, Hindutva is in Hindi and Hinduism is in English. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
What he just said about 2 slokas from Gita a day, we have about 700 slokas, so 2 slokas a day is a 1-year deal. So actually I'm working on writing a book about Krishna is calling you, and that is because now we have become a TikTok version or TikTok generations where we don't have a attention span more than 15 seconds. So I'm working to write a book where we take 2 sloka of Gita and then just talk about it, how it relates to our current life. And you only have to read 2 sloka in description or how it relates to your life. And I'm trying to create that as a more of a TikTok mentality type of a book and the community, and create the conversation for the young people where you have to read only 1 little page, Krishna is calling you. And if you don't answer, there will be a message on your phone or your email saying, hey, Krishna is calling you, you have to read this. So thank you for saying that, because it's somehow, I think that may be very TikTok way of educating our young people and ourselves and take us back to our roots. So I just wanted to share that.
I think I already answered this question, but just one add to that. Hinduism to me is the philosophy, and Hindutva is my identity. And both I get in Krishna and his teaching in Mahabharata. So that's all I want to add here.
So thank you all so much for the first panel. So now we have 2 more panels. Before that, we'll give it over to Sonali to conduct the sessions, and I will get down from the stage. Okay, so we'll all get down.
क्षणमधिगच्छति न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत कार्यते यवशः कर्म सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचार स उच्यते यस्त्वेन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभते अर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्म ज्यायो यकर्मणः शरीरयात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र लोकोऽस्मिन् कर्मबन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसङ्गः समाचरः सह यज्ञाः प्रजाः सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः अनेन प्रसविष्यध्वम् एषकोऽस्त्विष्टकामधुक् देवान् भावयतानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेयः परमवाप्स्यथ इष्टान् भोगान् हि वो देवाः दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तान् प्रदायैभ्यः यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापाः ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात् अन्नाद्भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः यज्ञाद्भवति पर्जन्यः यज्ञः कर्म समुद्भवः कर्म ब्रह्मोद्भवं विद्धि ब्रह्माक्षरसमुद्भवम् तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म नित्यं यज्ञे प्रतिष्ठितम् एवं प्रवर्तितं चक्रं नानुवर्तयति हयः अघारुरिन्द्रियारामः मोघं पार्थ स जीवति यस्त्वात्मरतिरेव स्यात् आत्मतृप्तश्च मानवः आत्मन्येव च सन्तुष्टः तस्य कार्यं न विद्यते नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थः नाकृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः तस्मादसक्तः सततं कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पूरुषः कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसङ्ग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे कर्मयोगो श्लोकसङ्ग्रहः अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जनाः पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम् श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु. Thank you, everyone.
For Sonali and the girls and the children. This is the true yoga, and my next book I'm writing on Yoga Sutra, so that's what coming out. So this is the true yoga. Yoga means connecting our soul to Paramatma, and they exactly demonstrated that. So yoga, when it is performed outside of Bhagavad Gita and Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it just remains vyayam. Vyayam means just an exercise. But yoga is, if you do the yoga poses fast, it becomes martial art also. So I'll hand it over to Sonali again to continue with the rest of the evening. Thank you so much. Give a round lot of applause for her.
I would just like to tell you that these, whenever I started doing yoga classes and all, I have very few students because everybody is interested in soccer and basketball and gymnastics, but I never gave up. I started with one student, two student. I may have very less student as compared to a dance studio or any other form of art, but I don't give up. I said, if anyone, even if one child is there, I will continue my journey because this is very, very important to promote yoga in this country and to connect them with the roots. So these are my beautiful kids. They have been doing yoga for 3-4 years now with me. And kudos to all of you. Thank you, kids. Can you guys come on the stage? And Anaka, Dia, come. Ishika, Ruchika, Sanvi, Shivani, come. Somini, Bhuvi. Let's get. Just say thank you to all the audience once. What beautiful paintings, if everybody has noticed there, those colorful paintings. I would like to invite Pragati ji here to say, come and please say a few words. I am really, as soon as I entered, I was like mesmerized to see all those beautiful ancient Indian art there. So could you please come here? We would like to welcome you. She has come all the way from Bay Area to attend this and to display her beautiful art. I would like also to introduce Pooja ji from SMAP San Diego. And I would like to thank her organization to support Sattology as well. Pooja, could you please come? And I would like to invite her to say a few words as well.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming and looking at the paintings. I've been hearing your reactions to my paintings all evening, and it has been an awesome experience so far. Um, I have come from the Bay Area, as you heard. So this is my first time in showing my art in San Diego. And thanks to Aditya ji for inviting me to display my paintings here. So to enjoy my paintings, you would have to really go close to them because they are really, really detailed, layered, lots of hidden things within the paintings. So you really have to stare at them for some time to decipher them and understand them. This particular collection is all based on Ramayana. So I've been painting on paintings based on Ramayana for about a year now. And these are directly inspired from Valmiki Ramayana. There's a little description on top of each of the paintings. They are stories, not very well-known stories, I would say, not literal. So you will actually, I will have to ask you all to do a little work on them. Go close, read the stories. I'm around. Ask me questions. Anything you would like me to clarify, describe, I would love to do that. My style is, I call it maximalist miniaturist style because every little area on the canvas is filled with at least 6 layers of detail. And I take inspiration directly from Indian folk arts, miniature tradition of painting, Rajasthani miniature, and all the other different art forms from India. So you can see the kind of detailing coming from those art forms, rich art forms from India. And now that I'm trying to go deeper into Ramayana, I don't see this series coming to an end very soon. It's going to be a work in progress for a while. I have only brought 15 paintings with me, but I have around 20 more sitting in my studio, which I'm working on. And hopefully next year, we'll have a larger collection here for you guys to enjoy. What else? Yeah, please.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to add a few things about her paintings. I encourage you, this is a must-see art, and I encourage you to see one painting at a time. Every single painting is mesmerizing, and it is all about Valmiki Ramayana and all the depiction of a certain thing. One of them, I would say, there's no, I was going to pick one, and I could not pick one. Every single one is so powerful and so amazing and so mesmerizing. The one over there, if you see that front, two, and third, where Sita Ma is ending herself and merging into the Mother Earth. Number 1, 2, and 3. Look at the third one. One in the second one over here is a Vishnu sitting on a Sheshanag, and details are, is it the second one, right? Third one, sorry, third one. There is a Sita Ma mesmerized by the golden Hirana in the center here. Every single one is outstanding, and the art and the details and the intricacy of colors, the painting is just amazing. I think we should all encourage her, support her, and make her one of the top artists in the world. I mean, this is amazing. This is amazing. I have no words to tell you the truth.
So I just wanted to share how I ended up being here. So while doing my research on Ramayana, I would listen to lots of videos and I ended up listening to Adityaji's videos out of coincidence. And then I connected with him after I found out that he lives in San Diego. And he was kind enough to give me a lot of feedback, critique the paintings, and also finally inviting me here. So thanks to him, a big thank to him. And one more, sorry, my husband who drove here with the paintings. Yeah. He drove here while all of us flew. So a big thanks to him. He has to keep it up because we are doing a traveling exhibition all over the world. So you have to keep it up. Thank you.
One thing I must say that if Deven Patel appreciates a painting, then you should know the commercial value of that painting.
Thank you very much. And now let's just welcome all our panel members for our second panel. The topic is beautiful: historicity of Mahabharata and Ramayana. And let's call upon the stage Nilesh Ogji, Aditya, Sharad. Please welcome on the stage. Let's give a big round of applause.
So, how many of you have seen mine and Nileshok's videos on Sattology channel? How many of you? And so, have you noticed one thing about them? In one of the, can anyone say from the audience, how did you feel about the Sattology videos on Mahabharat with me and Nileshok?
It's awesome.
Maybe ask who has not seen it.
Who has not seen it?
Please raise your hand. Okay.
Everybody has seen. Nobody has seen it practically. So one thing is, I must tell you that I am more into Mahabharat narration, and for dates I depend on Nileshok. And for when somebody asks me a difficult question, how old is Mahabharat? Which year Mahabharat happened? And I say, ask Nileshok. And the second thing they ask me, why do you think Arundhati Vashisht, the who is forward, Arundhati Vashisht, who is following who? And I say, ask Nileshok. So this is the real crux of our meeting today. How old is Mahabharata and Ramayana? And before I say something, Valmiki Ramayana is the basis of my book, One Arrow, One Kill. In India is the bestseller called The Global Footprint of Ramayana. And Nilesh Shok's book is Ramayana 1209, 12,209 BCE. That is a book where the source is Valmiki Ramayana. For Mahabharata, the historicity of Mahabharata, the source is Mahabharata itself. You don't have to look outside Mahabharata for that. So today we are going to have a live discussion both of them, because he has written a book on debunking Aryan invasion. Because when we live in the US, we are always fed the mythological propaganda from the academics, and I have openly said beautiful words against Harvard, Yale, everybody else, where all of us want to send our children to. And I have not minced any words to tell that how they actually undermine. They should not be teaching Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma or Hindutva or any word you say, Krishna consciousness, many other words are there. They should not be teaching, their colleges. Currently, they are being taught by Christian pastors, and I have no problem against them. They should teach about Christianity. So my question to Nilesh now is, Nilesh, how do we scientifically say how old is Mahabharata, and then we'll talk about Ramayana.
Thank you. So before getting into quickly how to explain scientifically when did the Mahabharata war happen, I want to give you a takeaway, something hopefully easy to remember. Before that, a question. In the Indian tradition, we talk about Purva Paksha. Before even giving the Uttara Paksha as a response or as sowing the seeds, you may want to remove the weeds. So quick question to all of you. If you want to answer that, just raise a hand. This is not a tough question. If somebody asks you, and this happens to all of us, in some context, you may be writing an essay, or somebody asks you, oh, so you're from India, okay, and or you're writing an essay. How old is Indian civilization? Don't blurt out the answer, but a typical answer, either the answer you hear or the answer you give. Just raise a hand if you want to share your answer, and nothing is held against you, by the way. This is something you see, a common number, one common number that you hear, just one, somebody else, okay, here. 5,000 years. Okay, it is Sanatan. So see, that's the other extreme. So 5,000 is one you'll see, and Sanatana is like it's always there from time immemorial, right? That's okay. 5,000. How many of you, rest of you who did not raise the hand, how many of you have heard this number? How old is Indian civilization? How old is yoga? How old is Ayurveda? Doesn't matter what the question is. In the context of India, 5,000. I want to tell you, it is an extremely lazy and tamasi number. Never say it again. There is no basis, no evidence of any kind whatsoever for that 5,000 number. Now, that's not to say the civilization did not exist 5,000 ago, but it existed for a very long time. So just to quickly answer just the numbers, the mnemonics kind of thing, what I have done in America, people do the multiplication tables. Now in India, we do the Marathi Pade or Hindi Pahade, you've seen that, like, multiplications. Here, have you found that surprising? I don't know, the school system may be different, but they have those small cards, 7 times 3, 7 times 1, and 7 times 2, and so on. I say, why do you not, I ask my daughter, why do you not just remember all these things? Anyways, the point I want to say is, if you want to simply remember, and if there's only one takeaway, it is this. If somebody asks you from tomorrow, of course, right now you take it on a Shraddha, but then you have to study and be convinced about it, what I'm going to tell you. Mahabharata, when did the Mahabharata war happen? In a simple way, you can say more than 7,000 years ago. Okay, if say, when did the Ramayana happen? The answer is more than 14,000 years ago. And how old is Rigveda, the oldest text of humanity, but definitely for the Sanatana Dharma? You can, with a confidence, should able to say more than 21,000 years ago. Remember the language, more than. I'm not saying exactly 7,000. What's the trick here? The multiplication of 7,000. 7,000, 14,000, 21,000. You can do this on the Shraddha right now, and then afterwards you can be convinced about it. If you're not convinced, write to me or write to Aditya ji, and we will invite you on our show, right, to discuss that. But to quickly answer the question, how did I figure this out? Well, if you are interested, there is a book there. There are many videos. I mean, Aditya ji and myself now has done close to 100, the COVID time. Okay, the COVID times, like beginning summer of 2020, almost we are at 100 videos. But how, if you want to read a book, great, but you can watch the video also. The videos are very interesting, but they work in multiple ways. If you want to know about Mahabharata, it will tell you about Mahabharata. But if you have a sleeping problem, just at the the sleeping time, just start a video. Okay, it will give you a good night's sleep. It also does that. Quickly, what I did, and again in a very high level, I want to say that, just like how many of you have played with a jigsaw puzzle? Jigsaw puzzle? Yeah? Yeah. Oh, how about the crossword puzzle? Right? Think of a complex puzzle, crossword puzzle and jigsaw puzzle together. That's what Mahabharata is. And I'm not making this up. Vyasadeva says that. After the Grantha was done, Vaishampayan is saying, how's this Grantha made? He says, Grantham Granthi Tada Chakre Munir Gudam Kutualar. This is like a puzzle. The whole dating of it is embedded. And that's why Aditya ji said, to know when Mahabharata happened, to know when Ramayana happened, you do not need to go outside the text of Mahabharata, outside the text of Ramayana. Now, does it give a specific date? No, it doesn't give a date. It's like a jigsaw puzzle or a crossword puzzle. You are given clues, the vertical line, total number of letters, total number of words. When you put together all the evidence in an extremely scientific fashion, every time it takes you to those dates. So it's more than 7,000 years ago for Mahabharata, more than 14,000 years ago for Ramayana, and so on. Just like your Google map, you want to go from A to B, you put those destinations, and Google's give you 3 choices, typically, Google Maps, right? And then you select one. It's very much like that. No matter which evidence you look at, if you solve it in a scientific fashion, in an empirical fashion, it takes for a Mahabharata 5561 BCE. That can be complicated for some, so more than 7,000 years ago. 12,209 BCE, that is the year of Ram Ravan Yuddha. Simplicity, more than 14,000 years ago. And based on the reverse Saraswati evidence, some portions of Rigveda, we can say they are definitely older than 21,000 years ago. So next time somebody asks you, you should able to say with the confidence, the Indian civilization is more than 24,000 years ago.
So if you want to ever understand the world around you, see, one is that you look at through your ears, from your eyes, and the second is you hear through the media. So when you hear through the media or Wikipedia, you hear only what you read, and what you see is a lot of information which has no basis in Ramayana and Mahabharata. So we have been told, ये शास्त्र विधि मुसृज्य वर्तते काम कारता न ससिति वो आपनुति न param sukham gata. So when we see outside, this is Krishna Bhagwan saying in the 16th chapter, 23 shloka. He's saying Bhagavad Gita is the basis of Sattology. So when we see the world through the eyes of Veda, Mahabharata, we see the world in actually facts. So we have been told that Gita is what written best. I don't know who has written Gita. Vyasdev. There have been many Vyasdevs. All these things, have you heard? Have you heard all these things? Mahabharata, if you keep in the house, then there'll be clash in the house. Have you heard this? And if you and then they say, oh, we are not into politics. We are not into politics. Our children, politics is for some dirty people. But Ram and Krishna both are politicians. And Mahabharata is so much information in diplomacy, in warfare, in every single aspect, protecting Varnashrama. And we will also touch upon that. But before I can go on and on, me and Nileshji can speak, I'll ask Sharadji one question. He has written one book on the Aryan invasion theory. So how have you debunked that theory?
So, taking time into consideration, I've written a book. It's lying on the that place, India and Unbroken Civilization. That's where. As I said earlier, I am in India. I was raised in North, the land of Vaidehi. Vaidehi, can you raise your hand? So Vaidehi means Sita, wife of Rama. And so I was raised there. And when I had a chance to go to the southern part of our country, a great civilizational land, right? We are so proud that the southern part of India has really, really protected our civilization, because North always faced the atrocities from the invaders. So a lot of temples and a lot of cultural things has changed in North. But from central India to the southern India, India is lucky to have their culture preserved. So when I was in South, I faced a lot of questions about, oh, you are an Aryan, we are Dravidian, especially in Tamil Nadu and with the politics. So I was like, when I was first exposed to this, I was like, okay, Aryan was never is never something which North people from northern part or eastern part of India associate. It's only when I went to the southern part I came to know more about this Aryan. Then I just started doing some research, because I have few friends who are from Tamil Nadu, and if anybody is from Tamil Nadu, great. So I understand the entire, the whole DMK movement, the whole Hindi movement, all those things, because I did my research, and this is where I found that the around 100 years back, from starting from Mr. I think Cadwell. I have to check the name. I'm forgetting the name. This is when the the manipulation happened, and this is where the seed of differences between the people from India was created, and this created a curiosity, and I started doing some research. I met. So there are 5 or 6 ways I approached to this problem. Not only from the history part. History was important. Our scriptures was important. I read Tiruval. Tiruval is a very well-known name in Tamil Nadu. So his work, his understanding of a little controversial scripture called Manusmriti, which is not that controversial the way it was sold, but Tiruval has copied a lot of work from Manusmriti to his work. So I started doing evaluation on that. Then I did some archaeological study. I saw few of the IIT Kharagpur research where they have done on Rakhi Garhi and Birana. And then, I built a methodology where and it's in my book, so I would ask you to read that book. It's available on Amazon. It's called India and Unbroken Civilization. And this is where I found that this whole Aryan invasion theory and then Aryan migration theory, it was all built because um, I don't believe that the civilization only happened in one part of the world, which is Africa. It happened because if just from science perspective, if the ecosystem is supporting for some living being to come up, it so when I started reading some archaeological part of it, I found that the current modern science, it says earth is around 4.5 billion years old, and there are a lot of rocks in the Orissa and some of the Western Ghats, which is as old as the formation of the Earth. So when the Earth was formed, India, which was part of the Gondwana and associated with Africa and Madagascar, India had that thing for the life to begin. So I have built the whole model. Because of the time, I can't explain that. It's very deep. So life started in India, and life also started in Africa at the same time, because the reason was similar at both the places, right? A lot of other reason. And then I validated with our scriptures. And as Aditya ji was saying, don't read and trust only Wikipedia. It's a good start. But if you go to for all these students, right, the way I do research, I also go to Wikipedia, but I see the references, the book they have mentioned, and then I actually get into the real book. So for understanding Hinduism and our scriptures and who were the Aryans, read the real book. And that's what Aditya ji was telling, and that's what my message to all the youth is: read the real book, not the interpretation.
So I would like the forum to be open for questions. So if anyone has any questions, you can raise your hands and you can interact. You can ask us questions on Ramayana Mahabharata historicity.
Govind, you can give the mic if somebody asks.
Yeah. I will repeat. If you say loudly, I'll repeat the question. You come closer here. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Thank you. Thank you. So her question is very valid, like everybody mothers. Then children, she learned Ramayana, Mahabharat through her grandmother and through very easy way, simple way. In US, how could she do it? And I can tell you, I had the same question for my kids, and my kids never learned anything. And I'm just joking. Okay, so they are sitting in front of me, but they are there. But the thing is, the the best way to teach your children about anything is the parents must show interest, and they themselves should practice it. Children learn by experience, maybe not today. Sometimes what happens, children, you may force your child to learn something and he may show you excellent results because he's afraid of the beating or the toffee, which you, whatever reward you give him. But later on, he will hate it. Another thing is the parent must engage fully in the culture of Mahabharata, Ramayana, and live and dedicate their lives like Nilesh Oak has done. And then children will automatically become great devotees of followers of Ramayana, Mahabharata. Nilesh, you got
The question you ask, it is a challenge, and it's not just a challenge for America. It is actually a challenge for India too, because the Indian textbooks are really twisted. Okay, no, it is. And so there are a lot of efforts that are going on. I would say they are like a trickle. I'll just mention few. But for example, anyone goes to, again, not a specific, you can go to any Balagokulam, find a place, and that works. The Sunday school, Hindu school and whatnot. Anyone working, I mean, anyone goes into Chinmaya mission? No? And okay. So for example, with a Chinmaya group in India, like Mitrananda ji, you might know, or many others. Say I'm working, but there are many others are also working with them. So for 6th, 7th grade, we actually created books, history books there in Tamil Nadu right now. They're written in English. So we are experimenting with them. And we need to do these efforts at multiple places. You may know the typical California, we are in California here, the California textbook controversy as it relates to the Hindu history. Like I was involved with this for many years. And in terms of the legal battle part, I'm not there, but I'm there in terms of giving the content. I also work with the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. There are efforts, although it may sound like they are not doing anything. That's not true. You just don't know. I mean, not you. I mean, many of us just don't realize the amount of things that we truly need to do. So I don't have a good solution for you, but what Aditya just said is very important. One thing, you may start with the Amar Chitrakatha, depending on the age group that they have. And what he said is very important. You cannot just say, hey kid, just read something, here is a Ramayana. You read with them, and you will find how much we don't know, or how much we are misinformed about what exactly is there. If you read the Ramayana, Mahabharata, their history, itiha asa, as it happened. In fact, on the other hand, the history is not a correct translation of itihasa, because history is in a way inquiry in the past. But if you look at Ramayana, Mahabharata as a history, guess what? It's not a itihasa, it's not an inquiry in the past. Valmiki was a contemporary of Rama, and Vyasa was a contemporary of Mahabharata. Just a couple of points. But if you actually read this text, you will realize a lot of exaggeration that you think the stories that you have heard through the TV, or sometimes Puranic or Kathakar telling us, and Kathakar tell for a reason, good reason. Most of the exaggeration fall off. What comes out is a very practical, pragmatic story. So you also involve yourself, be that kid along with your kid.
Thank you. One more? Yes, please. Go ahead. Also, Sattology is producing a lot of videos. You can check it out, Mahabharata, Ramayana videos. And also there is many books we have published. And definitely take her suggestion, take her number to contact those organizations. But Sattology also does everydaychant.com. It's a free morning Bhagavatam class, evening free Bhagavad Gita class daily. And every Saturday Ramayana Mahabharata lectures. That is also goes on for last 17 years.
Yeah, quickly, I will add, many of you may already know this, but if not, there is one channel for Valmiki Ramayana. Okay, it's a IITian businessman, entrepreneur, and he just now doing this full time, meaning on his own money, own dime. I mean, most of us are doing everything on our own dime. Okay, which is 21 notes on the YouTube. How many of you have seen this before? 21 number and notes. 21 notes, Notes. Okay, some of you are raising hands. If not, for those with the children, or otherwise, guys, you all grown up of any age. 21 notes. This guy is creating Ramayana videos in a very entertaining way. A good time span, like a 5 to 7 minutes each video, and literally going in the narration through one kant to another, and he's doing in the different languages. It's in Hindi, it's in English, sometimes he does episodes in Sanskrit. So that's one. Another one I will mention that I'm connected with in some fashion, not exactly the history, but in general educating people, young and old, about the Indian civilization in the right way, and getting rid of some of the nonsense that you see through the media and whatnot, which is Pracham, Prachyam, on YouTube.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. So I think we're running out of time. So we'll hand it back to Sonali. We will take questions after the event, like after 9 p.m. We'll take all the questions. We'll have questions back. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, there is a question over there too.
Okay, we'll take it.
We'll take after the, you can say after this thing, we'll continue our panel. Okay.
उनका एक ले लेते हैं.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I am Dr. Sheshidhar. I want to compliment all of you to enlighten us, especially how old was our Hindu religion. So the numbers that you are given, they're really quite, enlightening for me. So now I'll be very confidently telling that my religion is 24,000 years old. I'm really delighted to know that. But yeah, I'm a nuclear scientist, worked in India, retired now. I came to spend some time with my son in San Diego. He's worked with Apple here. So he's told me that the good meeting is on. Why not you attend? I'll be very delighted to come and attend. So here, being a scientific bent of mind, being a researcher, naturally a scientist would not just accept anything that is posed to him. He would like to analyze, deduce, and put his facts to the what you call a peer group, and it is analyzed, and then you publish a paper. So that is how we normally put forth our facts. So here my questioning mind is, does Hindu religion becomes superior or great only because 24,000 years old? Is one question I am having. Number two, and I was, born in Andhra, but, brought up in Hyderabad, which is now Telangana, but, worked in Tamil Nadu. So now in Tamil Nadu, as you also experienced, when I went there, a common question I faced when I went there is Tamil is the oldest language. So Tamil is the oldest language, so it is superior. So then, a state came, a concept came in India called classical language. Tamil was declared as a classical language. Then came Telugu, which says, no, it is older than Tamil. Then it is declared as a classical language. So my question is, why we are linking the age or how old it is to the superiority of a religion? Is it really required that age is the factor which need to be considered? This is what my question is.
Okay, I'll try to be short on this great question. Now, people may do this antiquity business for different reasons. Okay, for me, it wasn't about how old it was, but as say Mundaka Upanishad says, I'll quote one: Satyena labhyas tapasa yesha atma samyak jnanena brahmacharyena nityam antasharire jyotirmayo hi shubro yam pashyanti yataya kshina dosha. It's very scientific. Kshina dosha. The goal is to, you cannot eliminate the error, but the goal is to minimize the error, and that's what science is doing. So satyena labhyas tapasa yesha atma. If you want to know about yourself or about the Paramatma, Atma in the sense of Paramatma, you can only do that through knowing the truth. And so to me, it was a search for a truth. For example, when I started with Mahabharata, and through my research, if I would have reached the conclusion that Mahabharata is not actually a itihasa or story, but it's a metaphorical story like you see in the Upanishad and whatnot, and it is there to give some higher spiritual adhyatmic message, that would have been perfectly fine. It would not have affected me in any way. I would have still hold the Bhagavad Gita in the same reverence. But the fact is that everything in Mahabharata or Ramayana was pointing to a specific thing, and it, as a scientist, it was impossible for me to avoid. So it wasn't a race towards like proving what is older or how older it is. Thank you.
Just very quickly to Sir's question, antiquity doesn't mean you're superior, but the reason why we have so much dispute is people are not able to explain you. So when we say that Tamil is 2000 years old or older than Sanskrit or maybe same as Sanskrit, we have no problem in accepting that. That may be fact, but what it comes is, if we're saying that Tamil is a very old, it also comes with a Sangam period. So there were like 3 Sangam periods, 1, 2, 3. The first Sangam period was 10,000 years old. And so politician will not be able to understand when it is 10,000 years old. It also brought the civilizational aspect. It brought so many things, right? The puja paddhati, the way people used to live. So that is where we should take pride rather than just talking about the antiquity as a number. That's all I want to add here.
Thank you very much, and I have no time to answer.
I am so sorry because all the kids are eagerly waiting. Not only kids, everyone is waiting for it's. Let's take a break. Let's enjoy our dinner, and we'll continue in 10 minutes. You guys and all of us can just have some snack and sorry, dinner. Let's have a dinner together.
So dinner is ready. Please help yourselves. And are we serving something on table? No. Okay. So everything is self-served. So please feel free.
on, Ceylon. So you get to hear.
मेरे को तो गोविंद के पास होना चाहिए।
Here. Out.
I will make calls. Can you put picking? Connect this to that one.
Connect this. Connect this to that.
Bring the iPad here. Then hotspot. नहीं आपका आगे चलिए मैं पीछे से आ रहा हूं। मेरे को एक रतन चाचा जी को ऐड करना है तो आपको आयो आयो स्टार्ट करवा 422000 हॉटस्पॉट ये ना ask others to join ठीक है उसको इधर करो ask others to join which one is the other one wait नाम किधर है ask others to join allow others to join Wi-Fi password was wrong how will you know this one is which one iPad okay put the password
But this is on. This is on, so you could just hear the crowd.
Yeah, Namaste Mata. Can you see me?
I must say, yes, I can see and hear you.
Yes. So we will get started now. Just give me a second. So
Sure.
for all the viewers who are watching it live and who are listening to us in this hall, large hall around me, so we will have the Princess of Travancore speaking on Hinduism. Can you hear me?
Sure, I can hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me, Mata Lakshmi?
Yes, I can hear you very
Yes.
clearly.
Okay. So please get start. Please, you can continue to speak now. Thank you.
Shri Mahakali Arpanam and Nama Astute to all of you, which means salutations to Mahakali, who is the deity who I believe in the most. And Nama Astute means I salute the divinity in you. The subject given to me by Sri Aditya Satsangi is spirituality is the only way for happiness everywhere, but with special stress to the United States of America. The United States of America has the unique honor, I would say, and sense to have a constitution where it is written that the pursuit of happiness for a human being is valued. Any group, even if it's a tiny group of three, an association, a company, a district, a town, a nation, any group needs a certain set of codes or certain code of conduct, let me put it that way, in common, which is what holds the group or the nation together. Without believing and following these edicts, it becomes difficult because there becomes a conflict within the group, which is not exactly conducive for the health of the group. Human beings are social beings. That's why we have a tendency to make friends at the most basic level with other people. We are not content to sit in our little homes or flats or apartments. We are not content to be alone. We go out. That is what, much like animals, human beings are also like that. Now let us take a look at Chanakya's Tantram. The Sanskrit text says very clearly, Sukhasya moolam dharmam, dharmasya moolam artham, arthasya moolam rashtram, which means make wealth in the right way. Sukhasya moolam dharmam. It is because for comfort you need money, and what holds a nation together is its economy. Apart from the very obvious money economy or even the barter economy, there is something which holds a nation together, and that is the well-being of its people. Any human being, as a kid, first gets involved in the sensory world around it. It looks at colors. If you have a kid, you'll see. And nowadays you find that children are very attracted to mobile phones because it emits noise as well as light. So a child, any normal child, gets involved in the world around it, in the sensory world around it. It's hungry, it is fed, it knows, okay, that's good. It's sleepy, it sleeps. So these are all very basic reactions. After that, as the child grows up, you find its interest widening to include not just the five senses, but something more. The older a person gets, the wiser a person gets. Of course, it does not follow that if you're older, you're wiser. The wiser a person gets, you get more interested in what is beyond the senses. It is not enough that your sensory appetites are satisfied. And that is a search. It's a search for what makes you happy. You know, good grades as a student, of course, makes you happy. A nice flatmates make you happy. Then as you start working and earning, there are marks of your success, which is probably your cars and your apartments and your lifestyle. But at some point, you find that all these material things are not enough. Please understand one thing, I am not denigrating material things at all. In fact, one of the very sad things of society today is that people have been taught to bifurcate their body, their spirit, their soul, their atma. There is no conflict between what is physical and what is spiritual. The moment you try to because you can only try to bifurcate that, you can't. See, as long as we are alive, we inhabit we inhabit our own bodies. When I think of Sri Aditya Satsangi, I don't think of him as a concept. I think of him as I have met him. Because I am inhabiting my own body and I'm looking through my eyes. The important thing to do is not to fall prey for this philosophy that unless you denigrate the body, unless you give up, tyag in Sanskrit means give up. Tyag also means you're giving up something good for something less good. This is a very skewed philosophy. Of course, there are people in India, in South America, in China. I'm sure I know people in America, England, who have given up what seems to us a good life. They have chosen that for a better life because they believe that isolation, spirituality is what they would prefer. They have not been stupid or crass enough to give up something good for something not so good. The important thing to remember for all of us is that we're all human. We're all human in different levels. We're all human in spirit. Physically, we resemble each other. Maybe the color of the skin is slightly different, slightly darker, slightly lighter. Our aspirations are the same. Our goals are the same. For us to have a good life, a peaceful life, because I do not think a good life is possible without peace. For us to have such a life, you need lack of conflict. So please start with ending this conflict within you of your own mind and your body. We all love getting things. But those of us who are lucky enough to give an education to a child, okay, give a toy to a child is an immediate look at the joy on the child's face. It makes you feel good. The same thing, start helping other people. I am not saying cut off your own neck to help other people, okay? I am completely anti-tyag, anti-sacrifice, because sacrifice, according to me, is a dirty word. Help, make yourself happy, make yourself fulfilled. Make the people around you, help them as much as you can, whether they are your children, your friends, your associates, make them as happy as you can and ask them to spread it on. Society is, no change is going to come from society top downwards. It's each of us are a nation, each of us are a universe. So cleanse ourselves, help cleanse other people, tell other people, do this, and you will find that your own life is getting richer. The moment you help somebody, I mean, when a child who you have educated or helped educate comes back to you and says, look, I've got this degree, I've got this job, somewhere you feel as proud as grandparents, okay, because I believe that nobody adores like grandparents. You feel a sense of fulfillment for yourself. So the thing to do is not to say that, oh, I'm giving up everything, I'm going into a corner, I'm going to do spirituality. Do spirituality, okay? In Kaligal, which is the present yuga or the time epoch that we are in, what is prescribed is repeating the name of the Lord. Let it be any God. No religion teaches you to kill. No religion claims that it is better than the other. The thing to do is to look at your religion, let others be. Let them find out their method of peace within themselves, because if you have no peace within yourself, you cannot spread peace. So as this Chanakya Tantra thought and the American Constitution marvelously, magically gel together, it is a must for these two great nations to understand each other, to work with each other, to learn from each other. That is the most important thing. As long as we learn, as long as we are open to grace which comes, the grace which is within us, which may or may not be explicit, we leave ourselves open for the grace from everywhere to flow into us. Let me wish all of you a wonderful, wonderful evening. I wish I were there instead of sitting far away from all of you. I am with you in spirit. I am sitting and looking at a monitor and speaking to you. Let me wish all of you a wonderful evening. Let me wish all of you, Indians, Americans, human beings, the animal kingdom, a very wonderful, peaceful, joyful, helping, warm life. Namaste.
Namaste, namaste. And that was Lakshmi Nalapat, the Princess of Travancore, and also a great exponent of our culture. So let us all give her a round applause loudly from San Diego.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So all of you must have seen her in a YouTube channel, and our Sattology, very commonly she is there. And now we have Shri MD Nalapat also joining. And so thank you, Mata, and thank you for coming and sharing your knowledge with us. So Ratanji, so let us all welcome Shri Ratan Sharda, author of 11 books on Hinduism, Hindutva, and Sanatan Dharma. RSS, he has done research on RSS. So please welcome Shri Ratan Sharda. Namaskar.
Namaskar, everybody, and thanks to Aditya Satsangi. I am participating in your gala dinner from Bharat. I hope I could be there to enjoy the wonderful food and evening you have together. I have not been given any topic, and so I would just make some general comments, and I would be just be thankful that all of you are together and celebrating the togetherness. I had reiterated, I had said in the last gala dinner, talked about that how Hinduness is the centerpiece of coming civilization, coming period of the world, the planet, because it has certain innate qualities which make it ideal way of imbibing those qualities and having a sense of brotherhood within the community, within the world. I call it Hinduness. There are a lot of characteristics about it. I will not dwell on many of them. I'll just speak a few of the issues, a few of the points which bring us together as one community. One is Hinduness respects all faiths. It respects mutual coexistence. It doesn't claim it to be superior to any other religion or faith, and allows everybody their own path of self-realization. Second is that our thinking, the Hinduness, makes us believe in the sense of the world being one family, not a one market. So to treat humanity as family rather than treating it as a market is an important aspect of Hinduness, because the trouble that we have seen right from the 18th century onward has been result of believing that world is a market and we or some other community has a right over others' resources, and that has not allowed peace for a long time. Third is respect for nature. We believe that we are part of nature. We are there because nature is there, not the other way around. So it's not a compulsion for us to save nature. It is our love, our own innate feeling that we are all one, whether animate or inanimate. As we see, even in supposedly inanimate nature, if it winks, we have disaster on our hand. And today's feeling of saving the nature so we can enjoy life is very different from the Hindu thought that we are one with nature, we are integral part of a larger scheme of things. That is the reason we must worship and much respect everybody. So these three elements make it very important that we imbibe the sense of Hinduness. We are all related, as the Indian saying goes, "Mita koi oisin," that we are all relatives. Just as Hindus say that we are uh, children of the same Mother Earth, so we are all brothers, all sisters. The same feeling exists in all the ancient religions, on all the ancient cultures. So this alone can save us from the disaster that stress us at time and again at various war theaters in various civilizations. So this kind of thinking can bring peace and also good relations between all the communities and the world. Lastly, I would like to share my concern about the rising Hindu phobia and Hindumesia that is being aided and abetted by certain politicians who should be called fringe elements, who are trying to put up a grand narrative with the help of our own people sitting in USA and in India about how there has been violence in the name of Hindus, but they are also creating mental and physical violence against Hindus by creating very false image of Hindus and Hindu dharma. So these kind of uh, thoughts have to be fought with ideas, have to be countered by ideas, and this has to stop because, as I explained already, Hindu is the way of life which the world needs to imbibe, not the religion I am talking of. I'm talking the philosophy as such, the way of life. We have also seen that a lot of hate crimes are being reported, which is not true, and we are also looking at mainstreaming, or rather covering up the hate crimes, the terror in the name of religion spread all over the world, including India, that is being covered up in the name of Islamophobia. So just as we need to tell the truth if we want to save the civilization. So one side we are talking about mutual respect, mutual cooperation, and mutual coexistence. On the other side, there are people who are trying to destroy the peace in the name of religion. And we may keep on avoiding the certain terms, but the fact remains that unless these kind of thoughts are confronted head on and shown to the world that this is not the way world can coexist, we will have trouble in coming times. So with these words, I believe that the community, Indian community there in America, USA is fit enough and equipped enough to raise right questions in the name of religion, in the name of dharma, and provide the right path and provide right information and knowledge to other brethren in the society in USA and other places of the globe. With this, I close my remarks. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Uh, thank you so much, Ratanji, Chadaji. Thank you so much for sharing your words. This is second year you have come and addressed all of us, and always grateful to you. This time the theme was Hinduism, the way to spirituality in America, and
Okay.
always grateful. I'll touch base with you after the event. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, namaskar, Nalapad, Dr. Nalapad. Please, thank you so much for coming. So please start. Please continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aditya, and I'm really honored to be here among this group of people. And every one of you, if I may say so, who are present in this assembly, embody through example what exactly is Sanatan Dharma. When we talk of Sanatan Dharma, which is the ancient faith of where your ancestors came from, Sanatan Dharma means the universal faith. It also means universality, which basically means that it applies across different layers of humanity, and it reflects an open mind. It reflects a mind where there are no walls. You have, for example, structures where you have on all four sides, you have no walls, and you can look out, and hopefully you will look out into a beautiful vista. And essentially, if you look deep into human beings, you will find that beauty inside every human being. So the quest of the Sanatani is to find out that beauty, while at the same time ensuring that those few who are incapable of that kind of universality, the world is protected from them. It's very important to understand when we talk of universality, you must remember, for example, the whole concept of Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which my very dear friend Ratan was referring to. Now, that concept essentially comes from the Hitopadesa, and there it is a dialogue between a fox, a deer, and a crow. And the fox is telling the deer, "Come to my lair," so that the fox can eat up the deer. And the deer is being warned by the crow, "Please don't do that, because you are going to be, finished off if you do that." And yet the fox says, "No, no, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. We are all one family." The reality is there are individuals who do not accept the notion of one family. So when we talk of universality, we talk of those whose minds, heart, soul, and principles are in this whole focus of universality, whose minds are free of either racial supremacy or religious supremacy, because neither of this is valid in the world, in the real world. Definitely, it should definitely not be in the world of the 21st century. Why I respect all of you is that the culture, this ancient culture, and I would like to say culture is something beyond geography. Culture is something beyond ethnicity. Culture is something deep in the soul of a human being. And please don't tell me that the human soul has got a geography or an ethnicity. It does not. The human soul is a merger along with the souls of every other living being. And, and that is a limitless kind of situation. And it is that limitless mind that is the dharmic mind. And it is that dharmic mind that, in my view, I have seen many friends of mine in the United States protect and preserve. It's not a lifestyle. It can accommodate so many lifestyles. It is not an income class. It can accommodate so many income class. It is not even ethnicity. It is not even the narrow boundaries of faith. It is beyond all that. It is when the rivers enter the ocean. And this is the ocean of universality that is the heritage that has been bequeathed to us by the ancients. Well, the reality is that in today's world, the packaging is very important. In today's world, negative advertising is very important. And if there is a lack of positive advertising highlighting the truth, then sometimes lies drown out the truth. And this is what is happening where Sanatan Dharma is concerned. It's considered to be all kinds of things, which it is not. It has even been called a cult. It has been called something which has no basis in terms of philosophy. Well, all these are not at all true. And how, as a Sanatani, can we ensure that the world moves towards universality? One is by spreading the true message of Sanatan Dharma. Let's not look at labels of religion. Let's not look at labels of ethnicity. Let's not look at labels of income or society. Let's look at the label of humanity. And from that label, as a human being to other human beings, show by your own lives what being a Sanatani means. Show by your own lives what an asset you are to the society around you, no matter where they come from, while at the same time keeping the foxes at bay and protecting the deer from the foxes by listening to the wise advice of the crow in the Hitopadesa. Read the Hitopadesa, read the Gita, read all these important ancient texts, because frankly, you cannot bound them by geography, you cannot bound them by the narrow limitations of religion. It has to be seen in the universality of dharma. And if you imbibe that kind of the wisdom that is there, spread that wisdom. There is no point in light hiding behind a lamp. If you have, for example, a very bright, all the lights in this room were covered, well, the room would be in darkness. And so many of us, have lights inside us that we have not uncovered, that we know we have, and we have not uncovered. So my request is uncover that light. And lastly, I would like to, of course, thank Aditya, whom frankly has done a lot to spread awareness of Dharma, to spread awareness of Sanatan Dharma. Of course, I don't agree with some elements of his packaging, and that is why possibly there's been some negative advertising and not enough positive advertising about someone who's truly transformational, Aditya Satsangi. But the reality is that each of you is a link in that chain of universality and transformation to enter a better humanity. And I would only like to say, you are keeping that flame alive inside you. Now, show that flame and light the world up. Namaskar, and God bless every one of you. God bless every one of you.
Thank you so much, Nalapaji, for what an inspiring speech. As usual, strong words as well as instructive. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your wisdom with all of us. Namaste.
Okay. Sattology was a part of the Shiv Jayanti celebration that we did. And today, on this occasion, we would like to congratulate everybody and thank you all for doing such a wonderful job, bringing all of us together. And also, thank you for being a part of our celebration. And on behalf of SMAP, we'd like to honor you. Thank you. Your other team members? Your other team members? Oh. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for a wonderful evening. Like I said, we are from SMAP, Shivaji Maharaj Antarashtriya Parivar, and we have a few new upcoming events. And I think on the channel Sattology, we had once done a feature. It was pretty good. You should check out the YouTube channel. And I don't know what to say. We are here after the pandemic. Right when the pandemic ended, the first event that we did was celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We celebrated Shiv Jayanti. And next we have few other events towards the end of the year. So please watch out, and everything would be featured on the channel Sattology. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you.
I want to add something. SMAP is a great organization. One of the things they do is promote the genuine history of our heroes, starting from Shivaji Maharaj all over the world. And when Vijay told me that, I said, even if you don't call me, I'm going to be there. So that's how the honest organization that is. And I want all the Sattologists also to join, support SMAP. It's a global organization, not just in San Diego. I think they had celebrated Shivaji Maharaj's anniversary in 23 countries at the same day. Am I right? So please join. Great organization. And I must tell you, I'm from Maharashtra. And when I saw the entire Varkari Sampradaya, Dole and everything, and I said, okay, I'm not going anywhere. I was on Instagram all the time, just posting videos live from there. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, namaste. So it is special time before the last panel. I want to award from Sattology for key people, and we are starting these awards from this year onwards to recognize leaders of Indian American community in the country. So bear with me. Surali ji, 1 minute. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone kindly go, and if you want to have a beautiful backdrop of Sattology and have a picture there, please go and take your pictures. Also, there is a youth ambassadors. Kids are there in Akshapatra booth there. Akshapatra is also a non-profit organization, and it is provide the midday meal program to kids in India. So if your kids are interested in signing up as a youth ambassador, please go ahead and sign up. And they do a wonderful job here.
So I want to invite Shri Nilesh Oak. Everyone, please pay attention. Everyone, hello. All the people who are on the art side, everyone, please pay attention here. This is the award night also. We are towards the end before the panel discussion. So I want to invite Shri Nilesh Oak for his lifetime contribution. Normally, we give lifetime contribution after people are dead, but we want to start recognizing people while we are there. And the purpose is we need to create leadership in our society, Shrestha, people who have done outstanding work. And I will say one day this event will become more important than any other North American event in literary circles. Okay, so uh, I want to give this award to Nilesh Oak, Pride of America for Mahabharata research. And Ramayana and many other things. But thank you, Nilesh ji. And Nilesh ji will be signing his books in the back. So if those of you who want to get his signed copy, it's a very rare occasion. He's flown all the way from Atlanta to San Diego. This is the time to get his signed copy over there. And Sharad Mohan is also going to sign his copy, his books over there. And I'll be also signing later on. So my second award recognition I'm giving to my very good friend, a journalist from New York. So without delay, let us welcome Vibhuti Jha. And the award is for journalism excellence because Vibhuti has represented our community on many forums. And it is important to have our voice being heard. So without Shri Vibhuti Jha, and one thing I must tell you, Vibhuti, is if he doesn't understand things, he doesn't do it. Thank you. Give round of applause for Vibhuti Jha, please. Thank you. And last but not the least, and we're going to do that again next year. So be ready for next year's nominations. Also, we're going to invite. And this year, we're not giving cash prizes. Next year, we'll include cash also. We're going to improve. Every year, we have to go up. So this year, and I'm going to make it post dated also for some people. So people who are getting this year, we'll also cover them next year too. So without money, there is no honey, right? And in Vedic circle, we are bound by karma. So karma means we have to give money. We are the original capitalistic society, but we are originally dharmic also. So the third award is to my very good friend, one of my best friends. I'm giving him Pride of America Award for being the Indian American author par excellence. You must read the book 2047, Indo-US Relations. The last book is released. Excellent book. So let us give this, invite Sri Sharad Mohan from Tennessee, Nashville. And Sharad Mohan books, you must get a signed copy from him in the back. And one thing I must tell you about his books, he was the first one to inspire me in writing, but then I overtook him.
So Aditya now has 11 books. Okay, we both started in 2018. Now has 11 books. So yeah, you have definitely taken over. So okay, guys, Jai Shri Ram and Vande America.
Thank you. So now we'll give it back to Sonali ji for the last panel. And what else is there? Okay, a few things I must tell you. It is a delay. There were awards for all the yoga performers today. And I will be personally coming to everybody next week to give their awards to them. Okay? For each one of them, separately. And also for their teacher who worked very hard for promoting yoga in San Diego County, Mrs. Sonali Chandorkar. Okay.
That was very nice of you, Aditya, but okay. I think we are late, but we are almost towards the end, the last 10 minutes. So just hold on. And this is the last panel we are going to discuss. The topic of the panel 3 is Yoga, an essential part of Hinduism. And I would like to welcome the speakers on the stage, please. Nilesh Ogji and Aditya. And he requested me. I don't consider myself as a panelist, but I'll try my best to say whatever I know and I have acquired in last 12 years of my knowledge. So thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, let's give this here. Okay, you have to keep this together here.
बच्चे लोग नहीं नहीं बच्चे नहीं you were there who else tell me the other better yoga expert than me नहीं नहीं she is the best I know she is हम दोनों की yoga is nothing but that okay
So my questions, I have two panelists on my right and left, and my position is very good. I'm neutral, so I'm not going to go any direction. But as I'm researching for my new book, Yoga Sutra, and I've been discussing with Nilesh what Patanjali says. But when you try to understand Yoga Sutra from Gita perspective, and then you see Yoga Sutra from Yoga Sutra perspective, so Yoga Sutra doesn't make complete sense unless you understand Gita. And Yoga Sutra, Patanjali, when he created Yoga Sutra, he wrote, and generally there is a movement in the US. That's why many of the yoga school teachers did not join us. And I can tell all of them on YouTube that if in next 5 years you don't have Sattology certification, you won't run a yoga school. I can promise you. So we have to bring that kind of purity back in the yoga culture, because like the way Sonali showed us that how beautiful it looks with Bhagavad Gita. Looks complete. It's not just an exercise. It's an effort. It's a tapasya to connect with Paramatma. So today I'm going to ask on the left to Nilesh Ok, my brother and a very good friend. I'll ask him, where is America going wrong in the yoga actually, not yoga, yoga industry?
I'll tell you how powerful this thing is. If when you hold the microphone in your hand, you may not know much about the subject and still you are in power. Okay. Now, what I will do is for this specific thing, I'll just pass it on the other side. She's actually doing it. She will able to tell more. But if you ask me about the Patanjali Yoga Sutra and the science, I will able to talk about it. But let's give it. Yeah. What's going wrong in America?
Okay, so well, as far as yoga is concerned, when I also joined the yoga classes here in America last 12 years back, I was just thinking that, yoga is all about only physical asana practice and some pranayama practice, which will just give me some health or some pain will be relieved, or, I'll be like more flexible, and I'll be like, that's it. Most of the people, I want to reduce my weight. Oh my, this is the main the students when they come in, either they want to do some healing on their body, or they just want to improve their flexibility. And I also had thought that this is initially when I started joining yoga 12 years back. And after practicing for 5 years and 7 years myself, the asana practice and pranayams practice, I saw that there are psychological changes which are happening inside me. The healing is one part of it. That's fine. Aging will take up, and with age, I may not be able to do Shirshasana at 80, but that doesn't mean that yoga is all about that. And so I started digging more and more, and America is going wrong because the only thing they do is they want to sell. They want to sell yoga, and they sell yoga good in the yoga studios with power yoga, core yoga practices, which are more based on just the physical strength of it. But as Indian, we know that yoga means yuj. Yuj means we are not talking about the physical body. We are talking about the astral body. We are talking about the sukshma. We are talking about the tattva behind it. And the tattva is to connect with the universal consciousness. And I feel the Indian Rishi Munis, they were so smart, to be very frank. They were so smart. Imagine if I'm a doctor, I know everything. This is the heart, this is the lungs, and all the science behind it. One, imagine the astral body or your consciousness cannot be seen with your senses, not by your ears, not by your nose, not by your any of your senses cannot feel it. Even that, they had the whole science written down. Just imagine how smart they must be to design a system of yoga like this. And I feel blessed. So just can say that if you, without Bhagavad Gita, without the philosophy of the yoga is incomplete. That's what I can say. And in America, that you can only touch 20%. That is 20% of yoga what you know. But it is much, much deeper, on deeper level, without Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, okay, suppose I can just say, just last 2 minutes. If a person says, oh, Sonali, I don't think I am fit for doing yoga. Your definition is yoga makes you physical flexible. But then what about the bhakti yoga, bhakti yoga, which Sri Krishna says? So if your mind believes that God is there or the consciousness is there, and you just want to relate with bhakti, okay, Sri Krishna says follow chapter 12 of Bhakti Yoga. If you says, okay, no, I don't think this is all like the young generation here. They will say, what bhakti, what God, what Hinduism, what this? And then they will say, we just believe in doing our actions. Okay, follow the science of karma yoga, Sri Krishna says. Okay, if you follow actions, then also you will reach and merge yourself with the consciousness. If you do bhakti, then also there is another path. And the last is Sankhya yoga, where you can say, okay, I am a scientist person. I can actually understand what is written in Bhagavad Gita by Sri Krishna. Okay, follow Sankhya yoga, knowledge. Either start from top to bottom or start with yoga practices from bottom to top. Ultimately, you have to connect with Sri Krishna and your universal consciousness. Why? Again, I told you. Because we get identified ourselves with our body and mind. And no, people understand, okay, what do you mean by body and mind identification? Imagine a baby, and imagine a baby saying, who is this? I am Sonali. Do anyone say, I am Atma? No. I am soul? No. I am Sonali. There the ahankara starts. A baby of 2-year-old has started ahankara. Our mind gets polluted, our mind gets impure, and as we cross the age, the ahankara keeps growing and growing, and that is the cause of suffering. So there is no way out. You have to start the yoga practices, or you have to do the bhakti yoga, or you have to do the Sankhya yoga to dissolve that ego and realize who I am. I am that Atman. And then start looking at the world accordingly. Follow karma yoga, follow bhakti yoga, and then make this world a more beautiful and peaceful place to live in. So that is my goal for these young kids. It's a little bit high philosophy for them, but it's good for them to start with the asana practice so that the energy starts moving up. Thank you.
After I wrote 2 translations on Bhagavad Gita, the Gita is there, and the second is the Hindu Bible. So one thing I realized, that Atmate Manyate Jagat. So what you are inside, that's how the whole world looks to you. So this is to make you light. If you are foolish, the whole world looks foolish to you. If you have inferiority complex, it looks like the whole world has inferiority complex. And similarly, if you think you're too intelligent, the whole world looks very intelligent to you if you're really intelligent. So a good person always appreciates others. Thank you so much, Sonali ji. And so now I'll go back to Nilesh. The same.
What is the question? Or
the question is, in yoga, why yoga in US is being politicized?
So I'm not sure I know the answer to that, but I'll mention, just add on to what she said. Very beautifully summarized. Just my experience with Bhagavad Gita. Now, if you take yoga in the sense of a broader yoga, like when she said Bhakti Yoga and all that, yes, I can relate to that. If you look at me, you know that I'm not the one who can do a Shirshasana and, you know, all those different asana. I need to work on those. But Bhagavad Gita is a one good one in this way that all the Shad Darshan Shastras that we talk about, like, you know, Sankhya and Vaisheshik and all, in a very, what you call, in a very sense form, they are there in the Bhagavad Gita. That's how they kind of blend it each other. Again, the America, but why just America? Even in India, when you think of like, I'm going to a yoga class, I don't think in most cases they mean I'm going to a bhakti yoga class. When they say yoga class, they means they are going to do the asana, hatha yoga in the sense of it. So the problem is kind of a generic in that sense. In some sense, at a broad level, you may see it's a good beginning, you know, right? It's a good beginning because even that is kind of required. Even the hatha yoga is required. And I think if it starts somewhere, now I don't know how many of you understand Marathi here, but for example, how many of you understand Marathi? Just actually decent numbers, yeah. For example, the 5 great saints of Marathi, and everyone has written a Hari part. So the Jnaneshwar, many of you non-Marathi would have heard the name Santa Jnaneshwar also. And the Hari part, the first 4 lines go something like this: Hari Mukhe Mana, Punyachi Ganana Kona Kari, देवाची द्वारी उभा क्षणभरी तेणे मुक्तिचारी साधियेल्या. Like if you say Hari 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 like this, okay, just for a second, who is going to bother count the punya that you gather? That's how much punya you gather. And it says, if you stand in front of Bhagwan, like a Vittal or whoever it is, for a second, all you get all the 4 muktis. Now, if you take it literally, it says, I didn't know this shortcut, right? So, okay, I'm going to do this and I got all 4 muktis. No, that's not what is meant. But what is meant is that if you do it, you have taken the right step in the right direction. And in that sense, beginning with even the way kind of yoga is stated today, it's not a bad start. Because from there, I have seen people then take to many things. I'll tell you my experience into my research area. When people listen to me and they feel fascinated with what I have done, they get very excited, which is great. They will say, Nileshji, I also want to do a research like you, which is a great thing. Okay. And initially they say, where should I start? Even right at the table, you know, many people ask me like, where should I begin and stuff like that. And we talked about that too. And, you know, before I used to give an answer and it was a sincere answer. So because I thought like, what exactly helped me? And I used to say, oh, you know what? Read The Logic of Scientific Discovery by Sir Karl Popper, or read Conjectures and Refutations by Sir Karl Popper. Very soon I realized that people are still asking me questions, but the other people who ask me the questions are no longer talking to me. Okay, because more than likely they open that book and says, who is this guy and why did he suggest that book to me? Now, not because of that, but what I found, then I thought to myself, I said, what is it that really inspired me or really helped me find my way? And I'm again coming back to like doing the Hatha Yoga or even starting somewhere. And I found time and time again, it was my interest in Bhagavad Gita. And it was interest for different reasons. And now I am convinced, now meaning for a few years, but it took me a time to actually realize that that's what was happening in my life. That if somebody studies Bhagavad Gita, so this is my takeaway for you on a yoga in a general way, because all the yogas are discussed, even if in a Sankshipta form in Bhagavad Gita. Start with Bhagavad Gita. Like, you know, Patelji was here and is he still there? He said like 2 verses of Bhagavad Gita, 2 verses of Bhagavad Gita. Absolutely fascinating. I'm just going on a slight digression. How many of you have heard the name Nassim Nicholas Taleb? A finance related person, right? Something like this. I'll tell you my personal story about him. So I read his 2-3 books, like the Fooled by Randomness, Black Swan, and there are a few more, right? Every book I was reading, and I'm saying, okay, you know what? Whatever he's trying to say with that thick book, and not to undermine his work because I love his writing, it's there somewhere. And where is that? I kept on thinking about it, and the way the things happen for me, like when I'm taking my shower, you know, I get all these ideas, and maybe some of you have the same experience, kind of come together. And suddenly, while I'm in the shower, a verse from Bhagavad Gita came to me. Okay, now not I knew that verse, but the connection came to me. I'm saying so, which is what adhishtanam tatha karta karanam cha pruthak vidam vividhascha pruthak cheshta daivam chaivatra panchamam. Like there are 5 things: adhishtan, tatha karta, karanam. Karanam cha pruthak vidam, learn different things. Karanam cha pruthak vidam vividhascha pruthak cheshta. In simple language, don't put all the eggs in one basket. Daivam chaivatra panchamam. And finally, that 20% is a daiva. Whatever it is. Essentially, if you now those of you might have read it, Fooled by Randomness, Black Swan, or a couple of other or 3 books you put together, the summary of what Nassim Nicholas Taleb has written is there in this verse, and you will find that experience time and time again in Bhagavad Gita. It took me many years, and one time I was listening to a Gujarati lecturer. I forgot his name, and he said something, and I said, "Wow, is this there in a Bhagavad Gita?" Adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam. And that darshanam, he was saying that darshanam is that shad darshanam. I had known this verse, but I never made that connection. But that connection will happen. So I'm saying anywhere you start, it is going to benefit you.
So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Tapasvi adhiko yogi, jnanibhyo adhiko mata." And then he says, "And karmebhyo adhiko yogi," means you are higher than a tapasvi, a jnani, or even a karmi. Karmi is not a bad word. Karmi is a good word, because see, we are all taught that karma is of prarabdha, sancheti, and agami. But karma is actually 3 types. That is a result. That is a type of the results. But the actual karma is karma, akarma, vikarma. Because, and then you have 3 types of results for everything. For vikarma, results are very clear what you're going to get. But karmi is a person who lives according to the shastra, according to a normal. All of us are karmi. Not a bad thing, but little bit higher than this. How to transform that into yoga? It's a science. Like teachers can do, Sonali can teach you, and people who are in bhakti says add hari to everything becomes a bhakti yoga. You can do that. You can do hari bol and everything is done. So there are different ways to attain it. And somebody was asking me that in Sanatan Dharma, the difference, the goal is one, samsiddhir haritoshanam. But that goal is attained in different ways, according to different people, by different methods. So therefore, it is a vivida, like it's vivid, variety is there, and that variety we cherish. And the ultimate is yogi nam api sarveshan mad gate nantaratmana. So the person, the highest yogi is one who takes me. Krishna is talking about himself, is within, or puts me as the highest goal. So my last question back to Sonali ji is, so when Krishna says it very directly in the 6th chapter, and most of the people say, Gita में क्या रखा है यार, अभी तो हम दूसरा पढ़ने वाले हैं, वो पहले सारे वेद तो पढ़ ले, फिर उपनिषद पढ़ ले, फिर पुराण पढ़ ले, फिर गीता पे आएंगे. What do you say to that?
Well, Bhagavad Gita changed my life. I don't know any Puranas. I have not read any Upanishads. I am not a person. Yes, I am a Brahmin when I was born. And I saw my grandparents and reading everything about Gita and Ramayana and whatnot. But I was busy. I have an ego mind. So I was busy making my career. I wanted to be an IT professional. So my ego was all driven. I was like, ye kabhi bhi pakad sakte hain. It was like that. So I was never into this unless I came to yoga and then got deeper and deeper. And Bhagavad Gita changed my life. To be very sure, to start a point, even you don't have to understand the meaning of what Shri Krishna says. Just start with chanting. Even if the kids, a 2-year-old or 3-year-old, if you just ask, he doesn't know what Shri Krishna says, nothing doing. If you just start a chanting as a family thing and just realize it, after 30 minutes, you will get a nice deep sleep. Stress buster, stress goes down the way they have designed the shlokas. that itself will bring so much of shanti inside you that you will be like more curious to learn what Sri Krishna has written. Why is everyone after Sri Bhagavad Gita? Why I am curious what he wants it through us. So I feel it's a beautiful, just 700 shlokas. You don't have to, but make it a family. Even as Nilesh ji said, I think in panel 2, it doesn't work if you are not doing it. The kids will not follow. That is for sure. The kids will only follow if you have all follow it together as a family thing. So please start as a family thing, and you will realize it. Just like Nileshi has said, when you are showering, when you are doing any work or something, suddenly the shloka will come up. When you are depressed someday, or you are so low, you don't have energy, suddenly chapter 2, this karpanya dosho, what are you doing? Why me, poor me attitude of Arjun. Come on, get up. And you get up. For anything and everything, you will find one shloka. Those are diamonds. So please, I would definitely say that Bhagavad Gita is the one where the kids should learn. Everyone should learn. Thank you.
This panel is over.
Yeah. So now we bring an end to this beautiful evening. Thank you for actually listening so patiently, and actually all the kids are still awake and listening. So that's.
People can go book signing.
Yeah.
They can subscribe to our channels.
Yeah, we can. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please do so. You can go back, sign, and take the signed books. And thank you so much for all coming today and making this evening beautiful. Thank you.
So a few words.
Yeah.
So a few words from for the photo booth for the pictures and the Ramayan exhibit. And I want Ajit to say a few words and Manish to say a few words. And then after that, Sharad for the conclusion. Ajit?
I did not really come to say a few words, but you pulled me in, so thank you. Well, I just wanted to say very, very briefly, it was amazing event. In terms of the content, that's number one. Right? So we have multiple thoughts, multiple ways of looking at things, and people may agree, people may not agree, or completely not aligned. But the core and the common thread that was flowing here, as we all agree, right? Yoga and Bhagavad Gita. That's what mostly we heard. Even kids would remember that. That's what the session about. And of course, adults, we had taken our own interpretations there. So I have taken many of those, listening to very, very interesting, deep thoughts, very wide coverage. So my compliments to the panelists, Vibhuti ji, Devan bhai, Aditya ji, Nilesh bhai, Sharad ji, and of course, people in the video where we couldn't hear the complete thing. But thank you again, appreciate the time. And next year we look forward to even do a wider scope. We'll do like involved activities with kids, with all more. One thing is, it's all volunteering organization, right? So this is nobody is really a stakeholder or a placeholder here. So please do join, as and when your time permits, as when your interest permits. So we look forward to that. And along with that, as we see, right, Sattology, we have Akshay Patra there. So some of us are part of that too. So we are raising funds for the kids, midday meals in India. Many of you must have heard about Akshay Patra. So we are doing that along. And then Pooja with her organization, she's here. So all of this, pretty amazing, right? All this energy, positive energy here together. Thank you very much. And one more thing, Sonali is here. Sonali's mom is here. It's her birthday. So happy birthday, mommy. Many happy returns of the day. So we are ready for the photographs there. Please feel free to there. Push people out and get photos there. Manish bhai. Manish is the most hardest working fellow in this whole group here.
Thank you all for coming. So I still remember the first time we did this event last year, and there were no people around us. It was just us and us and us. So it was us and us and us. That we could count on fingers number of people showed up. But thank you all for showing up, and thank you Nilesh ji, Adi ji, Sonali ji, and I would say Pooja ji, and I was Vibhuti ji for bringing those crowd in, and all of you coming in here, and enjoying the evening. And I would Yeah, so this is the second year in succession. So next year, third year, we are going to do the same. And I'm sure that you guys are going to come in. Yeah, and I'm sure you guys will be coming and bringing more people. And from our side, we'll be more, more people to, share the stage and, get all the knowledge they have to share across to you all. Uh, Before sending goodbye, we would like you to capture with the photo booth, and we'll cherish those memories for the next year too. Yeah. So anyone would like to say something about us? How? Please come over. Your name? Jen? Jadip. Oh, Jadip. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I actually have a couple of observations and a question, if time permits. Right. First of all, I have deep appreciation for the work that each one of you are doing for Sanatana Dharma, for our Indian culture. Nilesh ji, I follow your videos as well as Vibhuti ji. So my observation is, I mean, earlier we saw, a lot of the girls performing the yoga poses. It was so great to see. What you see these days, right, is, and especially in terms of what has helped Western civilization, is how they've popularized their philosophies, their ideologies, and how they've mimified a lot of their concepts. But if you trace a lot of the sciences and philosophy, Western philosophy, we know that the origin, the seed, is actually Indian philosophy. And we can actually trace that, how Indian philosophy traveled to Greece and henceforth. Same thing with sciences. You see with medicine. You see that with a lot of things, right? So my observation is, and the reason why I kind of appreciated a lot of kids these days doing this and actually feeling proud about it, is if you talk to Westerners, they are proud about their heritage. Even if you talk to Americans, you see that they have to actually trace back to, when they talk about Western philosophy, they're referring to Greco-Roman or Greek philosophy, right? But they're still proud about their heritage because that's what they trace their heritage back to. But Indians, on the other hand, typically don't. There are many reasons for it. Obviously, the way that we are taught history is the primary reason. But typically, when you talk to most Indians, A, they're ignorant, they're not aware of their own history, and B, a higher percentage are not even proud about their history, right? So I think that needs to be fixed. The current and future generation needs to kind of think about it this way. Each one of us is representing India, right? So we need to kind of send a positive image, be proud about our own culture. And I feel like all of us can do a better job of marketing our culture and philosophy and everything that we should be proud of. I think Western civilization has done a great job, especially in the last 50, 100 years, in terms of just marketing everything that they can trace their history and lineage back to, right? Whereas we haven't. I feel like, again, people like yourself are doing a great job. I have deep admiration and appreciation for everything that you do. But I think we need more of you, and we need to do a better job just marketing, what we have and our lineage and our culture. And each one of us needs to be proud and stand up and actually spread the message. Again, I'm not talking about evangelizing like a lot of Abrahamic religions do, which is not core to our culture. But I think we need to do a better job in that.
If you read the 18th chapter of Gita, Krishna tells, that one who tells others about me is very dear to me. Who would not, he's called Yogeshwar also. He's the god of yogis. So who would not like to become dear to him? So don't be scared of evangelizing, number one. We have to tell the truth. So let's just focus on truth, Sattology. We're not talking about mythology. We need to tell everybody, and we need to have big goals. Some of them are making goals for 2047 in India, and I won't say what. We have our own goals, So let us not limit ourselves with anything. Bhagavad Gita is a book of liberation, openness, freedom. It's not a book of bondage. Like Bhagavad Gita doesn't bind you. It gives you the knowledge of guna to free you from guna. Would you like to add something?
No, I mean, I know everyone is waiting to just move on, so I don't want to add anything. But he mentioned something. There is another goal, somebody's goals, not goal of people, anyone sitting here for 2047. Without even going into what it is, guys, this is a there was a Kurukshetra then for a specific historical event. The Kurukshetra is here. Really, really, be very aware what you read. Be very aware, like, develop a vivek, develop that attitude when you read something, how to decipher what can be trusted, what cannot be trusted. There is so much out there, like just like this gathering. I go all the time. I mean, typically in a week I'm doing 3 programs or something, plus my regular Monday to Friday job. What happens is people will come with a great excitement and say, Nileshji, you are doing great work, blah, blah, blah. I mean, they're saying in a good way. And they say, oh, you know what, last week I did to our children's group, I actually bought 20 books of Devdutt Patnaik, for example. And I'm just saying, oh my God, like what's happening? I mean, some of you here, when you hear that, yeah, I also did that, you might say inside your mind, which is to say we need to develop the abilities. Like when Ravan came to take away Sita, he was in a dress of what? A sannyasi or a Brahmin or something like this. Everyone who looks like that is not necessarily that one. And we have to develop the discriminating attitude to make the difference. So every one of us need to take the swadhyaya abhyasa. Abhyasa means repetition. Swadhyaya means doing some study. Do not leave it. I mean, you mentioned the point. Do not leave it to the few people who are doing it. If you are in that circle, feels like a lot of things are happening. Yes, a lot of things are happening. But still, when you look at the entire Indian population, Hindu population, it's a trickle. Okay, so please do your duty in whichever way it works for you. Again, the solution is go back to Bhagavad Gita because it teaches you what's right for you.
Thank you, all the panelists, Sonali, Aditya. From the Sattology platform, we want to make some announcement. From next year, we are trying to have this event on Janmashtami Day, Krishna Janmashtami Day. Aditya? So that we can tie with the event, Krishna Janmashtami, and you can remember that. So whichever is the Friday, suppose it's in the middle of the week, it will be the Friday, the coming Friday. So every year, the Sattology event will be on the Krishna Janmashtami Day. The other thing is, if you can go to YouTube and type Sattology with this spelling, you will see around 200 plus videos on different topics. Your kids can also listen to that, right? Some will be little 700 plus. So that's a pretty good repository to start. It's in mostly English, but there are some in Hindi as well. So I would request you all to please visit that, Sattology, with this spelling on the YouTube, and you can see all the videos. Whether he is waiting for the photo session, that is free. You guys please give your photo behind that Sattology thing, in front of it, I mean to say. And there are books available. Please pick up your copy. You don't have to pay right now. It is a donation for the Sattology. So whatever you feel like, you can contribute, but do take the copy. So with that, we close this event. Thank you so much for coming.
No. So just I was not able to recognize Pragati ji, Tarat ji, and Deven ji for while I was announcing that one. Thank you very much for coming, and have a good night to you all.